Kiana.
And I'm Trav.
And this is I Now Pronounce You,
where we reflect on our experiences and give our opinions.
It can be hard to take the time to process it all.
So we're making the time now.
We welcome you to
I Now Pronounce You. Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Happy Hump Day.
Hump Day.
Just being it's the end of January now.
Yeah, we about to close out.
Next week will be the last week.
Yeah.
I hope everybody got a good start on, kind of revising what they're doing for the new year, making some plans, making some goals. If anything, it's just making you feel like you have a fresh start, right?
Right.
But know that happens every day. You don't have to wait till the top of the week. You don't have to wait till a new month or a new year. You can do that at any moment.
Definitely.
All right. So speaking of newness, we recently got a new president.
We sure did.
So just in general, Trav, how do you feel having a new president?
Pretty hopeful that there's going to be some change. Just a shift in who's leading us in our country. I think it's kind of cool. We get a new perspective, a new representation of who we are as a country. Mm-hmm. It's kind of dope.
I think that will be the dope part of it all. I don't have any expectations, though.
Me neither. Trust me, me neither. I mean,
yeah, I'm not really. I know that kind of sounds pessimistic, but I just like that I am not bombarded with what your president has done today type of thing.
Yeah.
I just kind of want things to kind of, go through the motions. And for most of the presidencies in my adult life, I wasn't reminded of the political aspect of things on a daily or weekly basis.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It would just be casual conversation of, oh, you hear what's going on in the White House, or do you hear what President so-and-so has done, or you hear about this new legislation that's trying to be passed.
Right.
But you didn't, to me at least, you weren't bombarded with so much going on.
Very true.
So I'm happy about Kamala Harris. She slayed at the inauguration. So did Michelle Obama.
Michelle looked good, yo.
I am really enjoying how people are taking and doing these digital prints.
Okay.
And kind of remaking them into I've seen a graphic kind of novel version of Michelle Obama and Kamala Harris and different pieces from the inauguration. And then I've seen this dope woman. It's Makobi, I believe, at Instagram.
The young lady that spoke with the braids?
No.
Okay.
That is the poet laureate. Her name is Amanda Gorman.
Okay.
So I'm talking about these prints that I see on Instagram of people doing digital drawings.
Right.
And of Black women in general, but they have been doing kind of pop culture things as well. So I thought that was dope. But speaking of Amanda, she did her thing, and she recently talked about how she's in the process of writing some books, and they are already number 1 and number 2 on the New York Best Times list or Amazon. I can't remember which one, but they've already made it to the top. I know definitely Amazon. They've made it to the top of Amazon's list because people have been pre-ordering her books.
How dope is that, the support?
Yeah. So, and how people always talk about the arts, like poetry, like music, spoken word, things like that, about it being almost like it's a dying culture or that, it doesn't pay well and things like that. So to see people rally behind people of the arts, I think that's really dope.
I agree.
And that's Oprah Winfrey actually purchased something for her for when she read her poem.
What was it?
She ended up buying her this really pretty ring. So Oprah reached out to her and said that before Maya Angelou read the poem at Clinton's inauguration, she bought, I believe, the coat and the hat. And so she wanted to continue that tradition with Amanda. And so she was she was able to do that, and she purchased her ring.
How cool is that?
I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I feel about the presidency so far. I'm really just enjoying the vibe of it all right now, and then we'll kind of go from here and see what happens.
No doubt, baby.
All right. So, Trav,
What
do
up?
you think men handle rejection well?
Men as a whole.
Yeah, or you can make it specific to you. It's up to you.
Men as a whole don't handle rejection well.
Why do you think that is?
It's got to be ego based. It has something to do with, I guess maybe testosterone levels. I have no clue. I can only speak on myself that, I personally don't have a problem with rejection, but there's times where, if we're having a conversation amongst men and there's some criticism there, it makes you feel a type of way,
So think about your younger self going out and kind of like shooting your shot and things like that.
Word.
Have you ever been shot down?
Yeah, tons of times.
And so how did you respond to someone shooting you down?
It made you feel little.
But you didn't lash out.
No, I never lashed out. I kind of internalized it and just, I sat on it for a little bit, depending on, who it was. I mean, every guy has shot their shot with somebody that they quote unquote thought was out of their league, So you kind of prepare yourself a little bit to
Has a
get shot down.
Has a girl ever responded in a way that made you want to lash out?
I'm from PG County, baby. All of them like that.
You be generalizing too much.
Nah,
for me.
we from pretty. That was the acronym, Pretty Girl County.
Yeah, I understand that. What does it got to do with lashing out?
I'm saying I wouldn't lash out, but I've seen some guys I know that like, man, you ain't even that tough for real with your bald headed self, and
But I'm saying, did the women? Do you feel like they did something in order to then in turn receive that type of backlash?
I think your response can evoke emotion if it's disrespectful. I feel like the ones that weren't disrespectful, it's like, oh, okay, well, what I'm saying, enjoy yourself, and they walk off. But the ones that just sit there with their friends and they laugh and they got a kiki and point fingers, they're invoking an emotion that they don't even know who this person is.
True.
Not myself, but the world is full of crazy people.
I think it also depends on how you are approaching the person you're trying to talk to.
Right.
If you are catcalling, like, girl, you look good. Let me buy you a drink. Let me, do X, Y, Z. I feel like that puts the woman in an uncomfortable position where you may not know where this is going to go. But if you casually have a conversation and then allude to, oh, maybe I can see you again, try to make the situation more comfortable.
So you saying they got to have a little game? Is that what you're saying, babe?
It doesn't have to be a game. Just don't come off like abrupt. Like when you come off abrupt, to me, as a woman, I find it's dangerous.
It's a little scary, right?
It's dangerous and it's scary. So I do understand that, as a woman, it's dangerous to be a woman, right? It's dangerous to be a black woman. It's dangerous to be a black man. It's dangerous to be all different types of nationalities and races and genders.
No doubt.
However, it is a scary situation to be in when someone is attracted to you and you don't obviously feel that same way in that moment, and you are trying to, at least in my sense, come off in a way that isn't offensive. That's trying to preserve your ego. But I've seen times where women are trying to preserve the ego and they still get called a hoe, a bitch, you're ugly, nobody wanted you anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's something we need to change in the culture. No doubt. It's rough. But hey, brothers deal with that too. There may be the same thing, whether it's an older woman or someone with a weight preference that isn't, something you're attracted to. And, I've grown up to see women respond in that nature as well. So, I mean,
so that's what I was asking before. Like, I'm not saying that we, deserve it, but I can see if someone is very abrasive with the other person, like, you talking to me? What you talking to me for? I don't want you. Get out of my face. Like,
right.
I can see how that would then evoke.
That'll make you feel a type of way.
Yeah, I could see how that can go south real quick.
Real fast, yeah.
really fast. And we actually recently seen that in the news. It's all over social media. It's all over major media outlets. But a 31-year-old mother, I believe from Harlem, was in a liquor store purchasing a bottle of wine.
Word.
And there were 3 gentlemen inside, and one offered to purchase her wine. Like, let me buy that bottle of wine for you. She said that she respectfully said, no, thank you. And that, they basically harassed her out the store. And then once she got out into the street, that they attacked her. They beat her, kicked her, bit her face. She had...
Bit her face?
Yes. She has bandages all over her face. Her eye has, red marks inside of it. She swears that they were trying to bite her eye out. Like, she felt like she was being attacked by animals.
They had to be off some sort of drugs.
That's what you think?
That sounds like Percocets, babe, or somebody off the...
You don't think anger and aggression can turn you primal?
I mean, I didn't think that. I mean, men respond like that to other men if, they feel like, well, it's a situation and, we going to, box it out or whatever. And, if you lose in the boxing match, you're going to bite somebody, But I've never seen, I guess maybe just because of the cloth that I'm cut from, I've never seen men react that way. They'll say whatever they want. Verbally, not that verbal abuse is cool, but I've seen guys verbally abuse women, but I've never seen them physically want to bite somebody's face off. That sounds strange to me.
I definitely can relate to the verbal abuse because just being, just a younger adult, just even as kids, being in the mall, right? You go to the mall with your cousins and your friends.
That's where you go pick up girls at the mall.
Yeah, I remember dudes would make a list of how many numbers they could get in a night and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you know, but
oh yeah, I'm very hip.
So being out, I remember guys stopping the group and what I'm saying, they're talking to this one and that one. They really didn't always go for me. They went for the others. What
you do is when they walk by, you grab their hand, but not aggressively. You
no, I don't
sway
like that. I don't like
soft, hey, you know what I'm saying? And they turn around. First, they got to see what you look like, and if you out of pocket, then they but if they like you, they'll stop.
So that's when I remember the Rejection Hotline. Do you remember that?
I don't.
You don't remember that at all? So the Rejection Hotline was basically a number. I never used it, but I remember my cousins and friends giving it out to people. So the Rejection Hotline, if you have a dude that's, trying to get your number, and you're saying no, and then finally you give it to him, you would give them the Rejection Hotline. And then the Rejection Hotline, when they call, it will basically give them a list of all the reasons of why the person probably rejected you. Maybe it might have said maybe your breath stink, maybe your outfit wasn't right, maybe it was your attitude, whatever the case may be. It gives them a long list of reasons of why. Now, when I was younger, I always thought it was rude.
Maybe you were wearing NBA pants.
Maybe.
With the patches.
I had a pair of pants like that. I had jeans like that.
Or maybe you were wearing Jabot jeans,
I don't remember that. I heard you talk about them. I don't remember.
They would say MF Jabot, and they would have different colors and straps on the jeans, one above the knee or one above the ankle. And
I don't remember that trend.
Yeah, maybe it was a PG thing. I don't know.
It might have been. Or I just can't remember because sometimes my memory's sucky.
True.
But the Rejection Hotline to me was more of a sense of women's protection.
Word.
I feel uncomfortable in this situation. This person is being unrelenting. Let me just pass this off. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I believe there were ones that even now to this day, I've Googled it. There are still rejection hotlines. It will even text if the person texts it, it will give them a text response back. And it basically may say that, you made the person feel unsafe. And so this is the number that, they gave you.
How does that work in the hood?
I don't know, but I remember dudes being hip to it when I was younger. And some of them would call right in front of you to make sure it wasn't the Rejection Hotline. Oh my God, I remember running with the group of girls, running away or
You never told me that.
Or trying to quickly go to the bathroom because, or I remember guys going to the payphone at the front of the mall and calling, and then like walking through the mall, and if you spot them again, they'd be like, hey girl, and you're like, oh no, like they figured it out, like, yeah.
You couldn't do that in Iverson Mall. It was in one big lap, and you literally could see somebody on the other side of the mall. Like, so, and where everybody used to meet up at was the cookie spot or Sbarro.
Oh, those cookies used to be good.
The cookies was bomb, and you would go to the Sbarro and get yourself a slice of pizza. My mother used to work at the Ashley Stewart up that joint. And you literally, it was like what Cat Williams says, it's like 4 or 5 Foot Lockers in there. He said, we went in the Iverson Mall, we walked around, there's a Foot Locker. And I thought it was 4 or 5 Foot Lockers, but we walked around the same place. Y'all had me in the hood. It was crazy.
Yeah, I do. We never hung out there. Like, if I went there, it was during the daytime, like with some relatives or something, to actually go shopping. But I never hung out like as a night spot.
But what mall I took you to, babe?
I don't know.
You don't even remember. What cookies? What's the cookies I used to get for you?
Oh, Forestville Mall. But we never went there like on a Friday or a Saturday night or anything like that.
No, we don't. We didn't shop there. Nobody shops at Forestville Mall. There's roaches in that mall. The cookie spot might have had it too, but now that I think about it, it's probably ill. I probably should never feed my kids that, but But
I think it's something, before we wrap up and go to the next topic, I think it's something that we really should teach our young girls about, teach our young men how to approach women, because it just can be an uncomfortable situation, and you never want to make someone feel like they are about to be attacked or fearful of what could happen if they say something. That's why I'm so glad
I have a son, because I want to teach him how to have sauce and not to make, like, I think the best thing you can do as a young man is to make women feel comfortable around you, like secure, safe. Like, I'll tell little Ty, hey, when he gets older, if they feel comfortable around you, you're fine.
Whatever, like, how you treat me, in a sense, is how he kind of treats me. He's a mom.
I love on you all day.
He's a mama's boy, yes, but like, okay, so Trav gets really freaked out anytime I use a knife.
Yeah.
Or scissors, right? And he's just like, don't cut your finger off. Be careful. So anytime, yesterday I was cutting spring mix, and I want it in smaller chunks, so I was using kitchen shears. And he's like, be careful, mommy. Did you hurt yourself? You okay? I don't want you to hurt yourself. And I'm like, your father has put his fears on you. Like, stop.
Because you'll cut something, you'll like slice something, and I swear, like, at least like once a year, T will nick her finger because you just be chopping, don't looking, chop, 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 and you never know when that day is going to come, and you have to prepare. I'm like, oh, God, please do not let this woman cut her finger off.
One year I split nothing to the point I need to go to the doctor, but one year I like split my thumb open because I had one of those beauty supply eyebrow razors. It was in a bottle of it was a bottom of like my box of just all the things. And I'm like reaching for a hair bow, and I'm digging all in this bag and right on a razor.
T be reckless, y'all. T is
I'm
reckless.
like at work, and I don't even think I had like a proper bandage. So I had like a paper towel on it, and I wrapped it with like tape because it was before work and I had to go. And the kids all day was like, "What happened to you?" I'm like,
I swear they're gonna think I beat on you. They're like, "Did your husband do that? You sure? Do you want to talk to somebody?" Like, nah, T just be messing herself up, yo. She just be in the mix. She be wanting, if you listen to earlier episodes, T be wanting to cut the grass, even though it be snakes in the grass. I stepped on a beehive.
I'm hoard.
T still all with it.
How can you say it? I'm hoard.
You hoard. You hoard, cuz. You out here, young.
All right. So, everybody likes to praise themselves, right? Like, well, everybody doesn't. Like, with me, I feel like I always have to give a disclaimer. So, if somebody's like, oh, you look really good today, I'm like, oh, no, I don't. Oh, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to give disclaimers.
Oh, bashful.
Yeah, bashful, humble. I know you've said before, that that's just humbling yourself. But sometimes I think that we humble ourselves too much. Like, I think there can be an extreme of where you're just not receptive to people saying nice things about you.
How about that perspective? I think it's because of where we come from. It's like, how dare you be better than what you come from?
Maybe.
I mean, that's what I internalize it as.
Yeah, maybe.
I talked to my mom the other day about You know how I grew up in Forestville, and you know, in my elementary years, I used to get into fights all the time, and it was just because like the games that they would play, like oh, if everybody run to the lunch table, excuse me, last one that get there, they gay. So one day I just walked because I was like, I'm not about to play no child games. Well, you played it last week, and I'm like, man.
What?
I was like, nah, dog. I'm because I felt like I was following the herd, but I'm not following the herd no more. And so he was like, man, Trav think he better than everybody. So I remember I had fought this one dude, Antaeus. You know what's happening, man. You know, and I ended up fighting the guy in elementary school. And then my mother just saw me getting into so many fights, and she convinced my stepfather to move us to a better area. And the friends that I've met, you know, when I moved to that new area, some of the friends I still have to this day. Some of my dopest friends.
So during that time, you were humbling yourself, or you were praising yourself? What were you
I
doing?
think what I was doing was I was like, my mom would kind of like feed me. She was the gold star mom. It's like, oh, you're so smart. You're so handsome. You're so this. You're so that.
And you thought that translated into school, and it didn't.
It didn't. Nah, I walked into school, the shortest man in the classroom with the biggest heart and the biggest confidence out of everybody. You would think I was 6'3".
And it caused problems.
Yeah, it caused major issues because it's like, who does Brent brother think he is, man? We gonna put him in this place, yeah, because he think he like that. And it just turned sour real quick.
I mentioned on a previous episode, I had a similar incident. I didn't get into fights. I've never been in a fight, actually. But I had a similar incident when I was in elementary school. I probably was like in second grade. And I used to get my hair permed. And, you know, once your hair is permed, it's like, oh, my hair was long. But it was all like down my back. And that day I had the nerve to bring like a comb or a brush to school. And during recess, I was just
brushing that pretty hair.
Brushing and combing my hair. And I remember two girls like walked up to me and they were like, that's just a perm.
Y'all just mad because y'all perm don't look like that.
No, but that made me think like, oh, okay. In retrospect now, I'm like, oh, okay, Tiana, you was feeling yourself. People could tell.
It was a vibe. It's like, my hair here. You
But
know
I kind of even think about that now. Like, I was driving home earlier today, and I had this thought, and I don't know if I can remember the exact way I initially processed it, but it basically was like, people will put you in a box, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
And if you do things outside of what they know you to be, then, you know, something's not right with that. Like, that doesn't seem in character or in line with that person. Yeah, she too whack to do that, or he's too whatever to do that, or he not hard enough, she not whatever, right?
Facts.
And then the other side of that is like suppressing yourself and not kind of showing your full range as a human being because you are nervous about people either...
Of their opinion.
Of their opinion in general, or like just of thinking, how dare you try something new? Yeah. They think it's maybe new to them, but it's not new to you because you've already thought about that and
or you
planned
always
it.
wanted to embrace yourself.
You just never executed
you just were nervous
that.
about it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
So what kind of drove this whole part of the conversation is recently I kind of saw two different instances where I felt that people were praising themselves publicly and people kind of took it a different way. It kind of went left. So the first example was Dana Chanel. She is, I believe, a multimillionaire, not positive, but young woman out of Philadelphia. Her and her husband, her whole family actually, they preach about generational wealth, that it starts with them, and they were able to acquire real estate, different businesses, including an online beauty supply store called Curl Bible. So her influence is pretty heavy on social media if you follow her, and she recently had a baby. So before having that baby, she did a lot of campaigning for her businesses. And so she did a photo shoot, and she posted one of those pictures recently, and she listed underneath as her caption all of the things that she accomplished throughout her pregnancy. Selling a business, acquiring a new one, finishing a building, a property that she had bought in Philly, buying back the block, all these things that she'd done.
Buy back the block.
And the comments were 80% they were like, go girl, talk your ish, big ups to you, I know that's right. And people were sharing things that they've done. Oh, I got 3 kids and I just started this, or I did this, or I wrote my book, or whatever. And then about 20% of people were like, not everybody has the support that you have with your husband.
Oh my God.
Not everybody can do all those things. You know, some people are sick through their pregnancy and they can't even do all that.
Morton's.
So when that was, being tossed around in the comments, it had me thinking, should she not be praising herself for her accomplishments?
Go ahead. That's why I said Morton's. Remember with the umbrella and the lady?
Oh, so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, enjoy your accomplishments. Live your life. Enjoy your accomplishments. You knew what it took to get to that level, and share that knowledge with the world, and also embrace it. It's, my mother always kind of told me too, and here we go.
Said.
My mama said, of course, yeah. She was like, she used to tell me when I first started wearing the Clubmaster Ray-Bans as glasses, and I used to be like, Mom, is it too much? Is it out there? She said, boy, wear your stuff. You live your life, be who you are. If you're a little loud sometimes with your fashion and your clothes, whatever, live it. Whatever makes you happy at the end of the day is what you should do.
True.
And even ourselves, like, I'm proud of like what we've accomplished, but I'm super like laid back on social media about like sharing some of our accomplishments. But then, over
I always give disclaimers like, it could be better, or wait another 5-10 years. They'll see the vision.
But why do we have to dumb ourselves down? We had that conversation the other day about, how we invited certain people over and they would just critique. And we'd be like, man, y'all don't even see the vision. But then like me and you.
But it's not their vision to get.
Word up.
And and that's fine. And I kind of mentioned that because, your conversation right now is more about empowerment and praising yourself. But I know a lot of times in the past you've talked about being humble. And she did end the post kind of talking about how, like, wow, look at how multifaceted we are, right? Carrying life and still able to get all these things done. How powerful we are. So she ended it not just talking about herself, but she, ended it kind of bringing in the collective. Word. And so I think that was a humbling moment. I think that was a win for everybody.
I agree.
And I think she kind of looks at herself as a win for the community and the Black collective in general. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The other example that I looked at was this singer, rapper, songwriter, this girl named Danny Lee. And she recently made a song about light-skinned women, referring to herself as a yellow bone. And, you hear yellow bone, light skin, red bone, yellow mellow. You hear all of these things, right? And people have issues with that verbiage because of the history.
Word.
Because the fact that, being of fair skin, closer to white, got you more privilege. Because those types of things, made men look at you as exotic and made you seem more desirable, and all of these things that were fed into our community and that actually pitted darker skin or browner skin women from lighter skin women. You see all these different things. Do you think she should be able to make a song praising her skin tone or calling herself a yellow bone?
Yeah.
Okay, why is that?
She's just embodying who she is as a person. I'm a brown brother, so I make a song called Brown Brother in the Brown Brother life.
So
brown brother.
You're stupid. That was mentioned in the comments. So you know how Beyonce had Brown Skin Girl.
Yeah. But
Brown Skin Girl was empowering brown women who are, by society and by large, underappreciated. Right? Now there's a whole movement behind it. Like the last, I would say, decade, there's been a whole movement behind it. But prior to, women of darker shades, they were treated differently.
They were. Yeah, I mean, even in our youth. Well, shoot, I said a youth.
There's youth. I'm telling y'all, if y'all listen to lots of episodes, it could be a drinking game if every time Trav says youth.
The youth of America.
All right, continue.
No, even as a child, everybody would pick on, the darker skinned people. And then as you become an adult, you realize that chocolate women are amazing. They look amazing. You know what I mean? And that, it doesn't matter what shade you are of black. I think that black women are dope. You know what I
So
mean?
you think that there is a space for her song, even if we've been pushing the message of one is not better than the other?
It doesn't give me colorism vibes just from her embracing.
Disclaimer: we are going by what she is saying.
We haven't heard the record.
Yes, I've not heard the record all the way through. I don't even know if the record is released. I know that she played a snippet, and the little snippet that I heard basically said yellow bone is what he wants, yada, yada, yada. And every kind of interview or live or whatever that she spoke into, she basically said that she was just trying to, empower herself and light-skinned women. And other people are saying like, well, y'all don't need any empowering.
Nah, that's wild because, let's talk about the conversation. And I don't know if you want to get into this, but we can, you just let me know. I'll gauge the room. Remember what they used to call light-skinned women back in the day, like our parents' day. You mentioned the term where like to be light-skinned or fair-skinned was a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, mulatto.
Or weedy bead, I think you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
And so they felt bad about being light-skinned. So there's on both sides, and some brown-skinned women felt bad that they weren't lighter-skinned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've gone to a women's church ministry group, and we sat and we were having just airing our grievances about things that may have harmed us or parts of our story that we felt we could heal in this circle of women. And one of the browner skinned women, she was like in her 40s at the time.
Word.
And she spoke about how when she was younger, she was teased for her complexion and that the light-skinned girls were evil to her, like they were mean. And we had, half the group was half and half. And so, I've never had any experiences where I have personally been mean to someone of a different shade or a darker shade. I actually didn't even realize that my skin color was different it wasn't a thing that I compared when I was in school until probably 4th or 5th grade when people started calling me, oh, light skin. And then I'm like, what? Oh, okay. It never really registered in my head as a child. And I've read a lot of different people's stories where they say they really, especially if your parents are of different contrasts. So my mom is very, very, very fair skinned, very fair skinned. Yeah. And then my dad is chocolate. And then there's me and my brother. And so I never would kind of differentiate between that. When I would go out, I wouldn't be spotting people based on the shade of black they were. Word. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was aware that there are different colors of people, but it just wasn't on my main radar until other people made it an issue.
Exactly.
And so I think every situation is different. You can't take away someone's trauma. You can't do that. But what I always caution is not to generalize.
Yeah, that's something that we actually have to. I think we do a pretty good job about that with our children because my baby girl got the prettiest chocolate skin you've ever seen. She looked like my mama. Pretty skin, but we ran into an issue around family members that weren't like that. And so it took her a while before she realized that she looked a little bit different from her mom, as far as skin shade. But I made sure that from the time that baby girl was born, I said, you got the prettiest skin. Oh, your skin glows, baby girl. And, you so chocolatey, you're a chocolate drop. You know what I mean? So colorism is such a heavy topic. I mean,
it is, but I think we want to stick with what I'm trying to point out here is the empowerment and the praising.
Yeah, no doubt.
Some people felt and this is what kind of turned me the other way, because at first I was like, you know what? If she want to do that, go ahead and do that. Talk your ish. Everybody has their space, their own audience, their own, people that they're speaking directly to, right? So if that's what she want to do, then go for that. And then I was reading some people's point of view of where they thought right now, socially, in the climate that we're in, that ain't the time for that. It ain't the time for that. It's not the time for you to glorify that. But it could be people's projections.
Yeah, I'm indifferent about the topic. Just because I feel like self-love is also an issue.
Yeah.
So if you can't embody self-love, then what do we have?
Very true.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear what you guys think out there. Like if you want to DM us or email us or just reach out and let us know, like, hey, where do you stand on publicly, praising or empowering yourself? Like through your art, through your music, through conversation. Like, is it okay even if people feel a certain type of way about it?
Word up.
Because at first she was saying how the girl Danny Lee was saying, like, this can be something else y'all hate me for, but I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't have any ill will or, any bad intentions. And then a couple days later, I think after the bashing continued and the media
She probably
continued,
was forced to apologize.
Then she came out and said, okay, now I realize
Cancel
that.
culture.
Yes, now I realize blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. I really don't know what to think about it. Once again, we would have to, I would need a copy of the lyrics and kind of go through to make sure she wasn't saying anything that would make you feel as though she is bashing one and praising another. That's what I think it boils down to. Are you bashing one and praising another?
But like you said, the social climate that we're in right now, people are going to feel the way they feel, babe. And no matter what, you could be saying something that is so empowering to like, yo, I'm empowering myself. I'm talking about self-love. And somebody be like, nah, I don't like that. So.
I had a conversation with Monica about that the last time that, we went over there. And the one key word that keeps sticking in my mind of her saying was projecting, right? People project. They see what they want to see sometimes because of the experiences that they've had.
Word up.
And so I think sometimes we have to realize, like, are we putting that on somebody? Is that what it really is, or is that what we want to see?
And that is facts, baby.
All right.
That is facts.
So I am going to update. This is the last episode of January, correct?
Correct, baby.
Yes, it's the last episode of January. Therefore, Smart Tea is coming to an end for January. I'm probably going to talk about my February goals at the beginning, like the first week's episode, and then wait until the last week's episode to talk about kind of what I learned and what was accomplished and maybe what wasn't. So for January, because I didn't do any New Year's resolutions, I just want to do monthly goals. For January, I read a book about habit change, about 5-minute habits. And of course, I didn't stick with 5-minute habits. I tried to make some of them a little bit bigger than 5 minutes.
Word.
And I rocked out the first 2 weeks. Like, I was killing it. And then week 3 and then week 4, it was like 50% here and there, 0% on some days. And those goals were, and I did start small. It was 3 times a week. I wanted to work out for 20 minutes and then every other day work out for 5 minutes. I wanted to drink at least 32 ounces of water every day and write twice a week for 5 minutes at least on the ebook that I'm writing for the podcast. So some days I wrote, some days I didn't. Some days I worked out for an hour, some days I didn't work out at all. Some days I drank, my water. Some days I drank 1 bottle of 16 ounces. And so I kind of was all over the place at one point. So I'm looking forward to making new goals for February. I will say that I do feel I got better at opening up my laptop and writing and making time for writing. I wrote more in January than I've probably wrote in the last 3 or 4 months. So there was some positives out of it. I just got to continue. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to pick out which ones are important, and I'll do that in the next episode. I'm probably going to stick to 3 goals and kind of revisit which ones do I feel like I need to stamp or need to change and kind of go from there. So that was the update for Smart Tea. See, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I wanted to be like, yeah, I killed it. I killed my January goals. I did not. I did
Yeah.
not, people. But it's okay because continuing to try, continuing to pour into yourself and to love on yourself, that's what it's about.
Every day's another opportunity, baby.
Every day is another opportunity. What is your takeaway from today's conversation, Trev? I feel like the words came out weird. Did I say conversation?
I knew what you meant.
What is your takeaways today?
It's gotta be about self-love. Like I'm all for self-love, but I think also too you have to test the waters and understand that whatever climate that you're in or however you're, sharing your self-love, it has to you just got to detect the temperature of the room.
So you view Danny Lee's Yellow Bone song as self-love?
I haven't heard the record, but just from us
Just
having
in theory?
In theory, yes. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
So
yeah.
check the temperature, but love on yourself.
No doubt, man. Love yourself.
My takeaway is that it's a very tricky spot and to be in still. I can't even I can't stamp it. I feel that disclaimers are always going to kind of be there. And I feel that people will come at you if you don't have a disclaimer, in a sense. So my takeaway, that's my takeaway. It's like disclaimers will always be there, whether you want them to be there or not. You can be unapologetically you, but there's going to be that 20% that's saying however they feel.
Yeah. It's always going to be.
However they take it. And so you have to determine, what are you willing to endure? Are you willing to stand behind whatever you are putting out into the world?
No doubt.
All right. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at I Now Pronounce You Pod. You can find us on YouTube, I Now Pronounce You Podcast. I have been updating the last couple of episodes on there. You can email us at inowpronounceyoupod@gmail.com. You can find us wherever you found us today. Also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Pandora, iHeartRadio, all of the places. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, do all of the things if you are enjoying the content.
That's it.
All right, everybody.
Bye, guys. Stay safe.